Chapter 1: The Enigmatic Kaizen. Kaizen's previous life was one of shadows and silent kills. He was born into a realm where death came swiftly and silently, where the line between predator and prey was razor thin. From a young age, Kaizen was groomed to be the perfect assassin, trained in the art of killing with precision and efficiency. His early memories were filled with rigorous training sessions, each designed to hone his body and mind into a lethal weapon. Kaizen's childhood was devoid of warmth and affection. Raised in a clandestine organization that thrived on secrecy and silence, he was taught that emotions were a liability, a weakness that could be exploited by enemies. His instructors were harsh and unforgiving, pushing him to his physical and mental limits. Each day was a relentless cycle of training and conditioning, designed to strip away any semblance of humanity and forge him into an instrument of death. His education was comprehensive, covering everything from martial arts and weaponry to stealth and espionage. He learned to move without making a sound, to blend into the shadows and strike with lethal precision. His body became a finely tuned machine, capable of enduring extreme conditions and executing complex maneuvers with effortless grace. But it was his mind that set him apart. Kaizen possessed a natural intellect and a keen, analytical mind, qualities that made him exceptionally dangerous. As Kaizen grew older, his skills were put to the test in real-world missions. These assignments were not mere training exercises, but brutal lessons in survival that demanded every ounce of his ability and resolve. The transition from trainee to active operative was swift and unforgiving, thrusting him into a world where failure was synonymous with death. Kaizen's first kill marked a pivotal moment in his life, a moment of profound transformation. The mission was simple in its objectives, but complex in its execution. He was tasked with eliminating a high-profile target, a corrupt official who had betrayed the organization. The mission required precision and stealth, attributes Kaizen had cultivated through years of rigorous training. As he approached the target's residence under the cover of darkness, his heart beat steadily, a metronome of cold determination. Each step was calculated, each breath controlled. Infiltrating the heavily guarded estate was a test of his stealth and ingenuity. Kaizen navigated through security measures with the ease of a seasoned professional, his movements silent and deliberate. When he finally reached the target's chamber, he observed the man for a moment, noting his obliviousness to the impending doom. Kaizen struck with the precision of a surgeon, his blade slicing through the air with lethal efficiency. The kill was quick and clean, leaving no room for error or hesitation. As the life drained from the target's eyes, Kaizen felt no remorse, only a cold satisfaction in the perfection of his technique. This act of taking a life was the final step in shedding his past innocence and fully embracing his role as an assassin. The years that followed were a blur of missions and targets, each one more challenging than the last. Kaizen quickly earned a reputation within the organization for his unparalleled efficiency and lethal precision. He was often assigned the most difficult and high-risk missions, tasks that required not just brute strength, but also a keen mind and a deep understanding of human nature. His ability to adapt to any situation and execute his objectives with minimal collateral damage set him apart from his peers. Each mission was a unique puzzle, a test of Kaizen's adaptability and resourcefulness. He encountered a diverse array of targets, from powerful politicians protected by layers of security to rival operatives skilled in the art of assassination. These assignments took him to various corners of the world, from bustling cities to remote wildernesses, each location presenting its own set of challenges. In urban environments, Kaizen blended seamlessly into the crowd, using the city's noise and chaos to his advantage. In the wilderness, he became one with the surroundings, utilizing the natural terrain for camouflage and tactical superiority. Over time, Kaizen's techniques evolved, becoming more sophisticated and innovative. He developed a deep understanding of poisons, crafting concoctions that could incapacitate or kill without leaving a trace. His knowledge of human anatomy allowed him to deliver strikes that were not only fatal, but also untraceable. The organization provided him with resources and intelligence, but it was Kaizen's ingenuity that often made the difference between success and failure. Despite the constant danger, Kaizen thrived in his role. The adrenaline of the hunt, the meticulous planning, and the flawless execution all contributed to a sense of purpose and mastery. Each successful mission reinforced his confidence and honed his skills further. However, this life of constant violence and deception also isolated him, creating an emotional void that was filled only by the satisfaction of a job well done. Kaizen's life as an assassin was one of continuous learning and adaptation. Every mission was a step forward in his evolution as a perfect killing machine, a testament to his unwavering resolve and unparalleled skill. His ability to adapt to any situation and his unmatched efficiency made him a valuable asset. He became known for his innovative techniques, often creating new methods of assassination that left his targets and their protectors bewildered. Poison, traps, silent takedowns. Kaizen mastered them all, each kill further cementing his place as a master assassin. Despite his success, Kaizen's life was a solitary one. Trust was a luxury he could not afford, and friendships were dangerous distractions. He operated alone, relying only on his skills and instincts. The organization was his only constant, a shadowy presence that provided his missions and dictated his movements. Yet even within the organization, Kaizen remained an enigma, a figure of quiet menace, whose true thoughts and motivations were known to none. This veil of mystery and self-reliance was evident in his meticulous approach to his assignments. Unknowingly, however, one such assignment would end up costing him everything. Kaizen began by gathering every piece of information he could find on his target. The man was known as Lord Haruto, a cunning and ruthless figure who surrounded himself with layers of security and operated from a fortified estate on the outskirts of the city. Haruto's daily routine was predictable but heavily guarded. He held meetings with powerful allies, indulged in luxurious dinners, and enjoyed late-night strolls through his private gardens, always accompanied by a small army of bodyguards. Kaizen's first step was to infiltrate Haruto's inner circle without drawing attention. Disguised as a lowly servant, he spent several days within the estate, carefully observing the comings and goings, noting the security patterns and escape routes. His keen eye for detail allowed him to map out the estate's layout in his mind, identifying potential vulnerabilities in the otherwise impenetrable defenses. Next, he needed to acquire the tools for the job. Kaizen visited a black market arms dealer, purchasing specialized equipment that would aid in his infiltration and assassination. He selected silent, retractable blades, smoke bombs, and a compact crossbow with poisoned bolts. Each item was chosen for its ability to cause maximum impact with minimal noise. Kaizen also prepared mentally for the mission. He spent hours meditating, clearing his mind of distractions and focusing solely on the task ahead. His training had taught him that a clear mind was as important as a sharp blade. Any hesitation or doubt could be fatal. With his plan in place and his equipment ready, Kaizen waited for the perfect night to strike. The night of the mission, Kaizen moved with the confidence of someone who had done this 100 times before. Dressed in black and blending seamlessly with the shadows, he approached Haruto's estate under the cover of darkness. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a pale light that barely penetrated the thick foliage surrounding the property. Kaizen's movements were fluid and precise, each step carefully placed to avoid detection. He reached the outer wall of the estate and quickly scaled it, using the ivy-covered stones for support. At the top, he paused, scanning the grounds below. Guards patrolled in pairs, their torches casting flickering pools of light. Kaizen waited for a gap in their patrol, then dropped silently to the ground, rolling into the shadows. His first objective was to disable the alarm system. During his time disguised as a servant, he had discovered the location of the control panel in a small utility shed near the main house. Kaizen moved swiftly, darting from shadow to shadow until he reached the shed. Picking the lock with practiced ease, he slipped inside and located the panel. A few quick adjustments and the alarms were offline, reducing the chances of immediate detection. With the alarms disabled, Kaizen turned his attention to the main house. He knew that Haruto would be in his private chambers at this hour, likely preparing for bed. The house was heavily guarded, but Kaizen had planned for this. He used his smoke bombs to create diversions, luring guards away from their posts and slipping past them unnoticed. His path took him through the opulent halls of the mansion, past rooms filled with priceless art and lavish furnishings. But Kaizen's focus never wavered. His target was close. Kaizen finally reached the door to Haruto's chambers. He paused, listening for any sounds within. Hearing nothing, he carefully picked the lock and pushed the door open. Inside, the room was dimly lit by a single lamp. Haruto sat at a large desk, his back to the door, reviewing documents by the faint light. The perfect opportunity. Kaizen stepped inside, his blade ready. He moved silently, his heart steady, his mind clear. But just as he prepared to strike, something went wrong. A hidden alarm, a last-minute change in security. He never knew for sure. What he did know was that he had been compromised. An ear-splitting siren shattered the silence, and Haruto spun around, eyes wide with shock. Before Kaizen could react, the door burst open and guards flooded into the room. The ensuing fight was brutal and unforgiving. Kaizen's skills were pushed to their limits as he fought off waves of guards. His training and experience allowed him to hold his own, but the numbers were overwhelming. Kaizen moved with lethal efficiency, his blade flashing in the dim light as he took down one guard after another. His compact crossbow fired poisoned bolts with deadly accuracy, dropping enemies before they could reach him. But for every guard he felled, 2 more seemed to take their place. Injuries accumulated, each one slowing him down, sapping his strength. A cut across his thigh, a gash on his arm. Each wound was a testament to the ferocity of the battle. Despite the odds, Kaizen remained focused on his objective. He managed to break through the guards and reach Haruto, who had armed himself with a decorative sword from the wall. The two clashed in a desperate struggle, Haruto fighting for his life, Kaizen for his mission. Their swords met with a clash of steel, sparks flying in the dim light. Haruto was skilled, but Kaizen's training gave him the edge. He disarmed Haruto with a swift move and plunged his blade into the man's chest. Haruto gasped, his eyes wide with shock and pain, before collapsing to the floor. Kaizen had completed his mission, but there was no time to savor the victory. The guards were still coming, and his injuries were taking their toll. Kaizen knew he had to escape. He staggered towards the window, throwing it open and climbing out onto the ledge. The estate was in chaos, guards shouting and searching for him. He moved along the ledge, his body protesting with every step. Blood loss and exhaustion were catching up with him, but he forced himself to keep moving. He dropped to the ground below, landing awkwardly and nearly collapsing. The world spun around him, and he had to lean against the wall to steady himself. His only chance was to reach the cover of the trees and disappear into the night. Kaizen stumbled forward, each step a Herculean effort. As he neared the edge of the estate, a sharp pain in his side told him he had been hit. He looked down to see a crossbow bolt protruding from his ribs, the pain searing through his body. His vision blurred, and he knew he couldn't go much further. He had to find a place to hide and tend to his wounds, but the estate's guards were closing in. Kaizen made it to a narrow alley between 2 buildings and collapsed behind a stack of crates. The world around him was fading to black, his strength ebbing away with each passing second. He fumbled for his medical kit, but his hands were shaking too badly to use it. The sounds of footsteps and shouting grew closer, and he knew it was only a matter of time before they found him. In his final moments, Kaizen's mind drifted back over his life. He thought of the countless missions, the lives he had taken, and the solitary path he had walked. He had always known this day would come, that eventually he would meet his match. As the darkness closed in, he felt a strange sense of peace. He had lived by the blade, and now he would die by it. But death was not the end for Kaizen. In the moments after his heart stopped beating, he felt a strange sensation, a pull that dragged him away from the darkness and into a blinding light. It was as if the universe itself had seized him, refusing to let his soul rest. The transition was not smooth. It was a whirlwind of disorienting brightness, a cacophony of indistinct noises that grew louder until it all suddenly went silent. Kaizen's consciousness was reborn in a new world, a world where he would be given another chance, another purpose. His skills, his knowledge, and his ruthlessness would all be put to the test once more, but this time in the world of shinobi.